Hi guys, Laura here, hairstylist here in Dallas, Texas. Because we're all in quarantine, I was able to sneak away to my shop, which I know I wasn't supposed to do, but it's just me here. It's a single suite, everything's been cleaned and disinfected, and it's a heck of a lot easier to do this here than it is in my kitchen. So even though you guys are gonna be doing this in your kitchen, I wanted to show you guys just some little tips and tricks. I'm not trying to get too fancy with anything. This video will be for around the edges and the neckline. You can see I have cut her in a very nice sexy slick back, but with intentions of showing you guys how to clean up around the edges that are all probably really grown out by now, and that will continue to grow out because Dallas County is on shelter in place until May 20th as of now. So the other thing I'm gonna do in this video is show you how to clean up a mustache. Just bear with me on all of this. A couple disclaimers, like in the last video, music is not mine. This is Pandora Hipster Cocktail Party Radio. It's super awesome, check it out. I play it in my shop here all the time. It's like 99% family friendly. There's an occasional F-bomb that happens often, sometimes, with Mumford & Sons. Anyway, disclaimer number 2, I am not teaching you guys how to cut your hair at home. I am not here to tell you it's okay to cut your hair at home. I went to school for this. I paid, because of barbering and cosmetology, I paid like $35,000 to learn how to do this, and I spent the last 6 years really perfecting my craft. So what I'm showing you is really just how to get through quarantine and not how to cut your hair long term. Like I said before in the last video, we are broke and unemployed, so please come back to us as soon as we're able to. Also, if you feel generous and you want to throw a tip my way, you can Venmo me, Laura-Shendelman. I will put it somewhere up, down. I don't know where this is going to be. And last disclaimer, I now have made one video and it was not great, so bear with me on video number 2 here. We're going to try to get through this together, okay? So first things first, I have Quarantina's hair here slicked back just so it's out of the way. For those of you that have longer hair, you can either get it wet and move it out of the way, but the hair that we're gonna work with right now, I like to be really dry. Most clippers don't run through wet hair very well. It can either snag the hair, kind of make some rough cuts in it, put lines where you don't want them to. It can also mess with your clippers long term too. Just clipper care tip. Make sure you clean it off. Most trimmers and clippers, even at-home ones, should come with a little brush. I use one of these. This is an Andis brush. It's so old that the Andis has come off of it, but super great, decently soft bristled. If you don't have a brush like this and your clippers didn't come with one or you lost it, a soft toothbrush or something will be fine as well. Friendly reminder, don't brush the teeth. You want to push away from the teeth, right? Just like that, and just kind of scoop the hair out. When you go against it, it actually dulls the blades a lot faster, and then it, not as much of a life left in the blades. So when it comes to disinfecting, I use Andis Cool Care Plus. It's a 5-in-1 rest preventative, cleaner, lubricant, disinfectant, and coolant. If it gets too hot, whatever, you can spray it on, it kind of cools it down so you can keep going. But turn on, away from any faces, and spray. That's it. Really easy to take care of. You still have to oil them, just not as often when you use something like that, but depending on how often you're doing hair or beards at home, you're gonna wanna oil it pretty often. So we're gonna start with around the edges. Depending on where you like the sideburns, I tend to go mid-ear. However, some people's ears are not symmetrical and they are slightly uneven. So if someone's ears mid-ear is different, you're gonna notice. So I tend to kind of take a look at someone in the mirror. Mine are decently close, but I kind of shoot for that mid-ear section. So obviously with my doll head, I don't really have many options to show you. We're just gonna kind of work with what she has. When I lift up the hair, I can see where her natural hairline is, so that's what I'm gonna work off of. But your people in your lives and you personally don't have that. So just kind of find where it's most solid and kind of work based off of that. If it's super solid, then kind of shoot for the mid-ear and then kind of go back and forth and kind of make sure that they're right about close to each other. So these are trimmers. I use the wall detailers. I actually recently got the cordless ones about 6-8 months ago, and they're amazing. The corded ones are just as awesome. It's a slightly smaller body for the corded ones, but the big ones, once you get used to it, it actually fits in your hand pretty well, and I got pretty small hands, so it actually fits very well. So this is also a T blade. You can see how it kind of comes to a T on the edges. I like this a lot, especially for going around the ears. If yours is a square blade and doesn't, like it just goes straight up, that's okay too. You're just gonna wanna hold it on an angle and be very cautious with it. So I always comb down the hair first. I always start with the sideburn. I go straight in and I make a straight line and I pull down. All you're doing, I'm gonna show you on my arm, all you're doing is putting these blades on, kind of see how you can see I'm pushing a little bit and pull down. That's it. You're not running into the skin, you're not going up into it. You're gonna put on and pull down, put on, pull down, put on, pull down. Make sense? We're good. So now when it comes to the ears, she again has that natural hairline, but so do we all, right? So when I pull this down, you can see where that hairline is. You want to get as close to it as possible without going up into it. Easier said than done, very easy to do, but just go slowly. If you go too quickly, you're gonna mess it up and it will grow back, and this is the best time to mess it up, but just move slowly, okay? I'm actually gonna use just the corners of this. I'm gonna start, normally I would stand next to my clients and I would use the blade the front of the clippers facing away from them and work from the front of the ear to the top of the ear and then flip it around so the blade is up, back of the ear to the top of the ear, okay? For video purposes, I'm gonna go on a slight angle, but I'm going to lift this hair up, see where it is, and I'm gonna slowly work up to it. This is really easy when you can fold the ear down. When in doubt, I tend to put a comb here and I will go up against it, but that's more for an advanced kind of thing. So I would fold the ear down and edge up just a little bit. Slowly, slowly, slowly. I flip it back and bring it forward. Okay, I'm gonna come closer to you guys so you can kind of see. So front, the blade facing me to go from here to the top, turn the blades around from the back of the ear up. Okay, we're gonna kind of just come through here, flip it around, and we're gonna just kind of work our way back up. Okay, now that's the right side of the mannequin head and I'm right-handed. So now when I get to the other side of the mannequin, now I'm going backwards. Okay, so their head's facing this way. I'm actually gonna start backwards first and go sideburn, front up, and then turn back up. Make sense? Maybe? So we're gonna start here. Again, sideburn. Normally I'd be standing on the side of them. We're just gonna, that's a little higher than mid-ear because her natural ones are pretty high. So I'm gonna lift that up just a little bit higher for mannequin's sake. And then I'm gonna put the blade facing the back and I'm just gonna edge up just a little bit, okay? Now I'm gonna go to the back and I'm gonna bring this up. That's it, super easy. Sorry. Okay, so now we go to the back of the head, okay? Now, a lot of times, everyone's natural instinct is to flip their head as far forward as possible so we can clean up their neckline. It's a bad thing to do. What it does is it actually stretches the skin. So when you make that straight line, the moment they put their head back up and their skin goes back, now it's potentially a very wonky line. Not always, but more often than not, it gets pretty wonky. So if you need to have their head down a little bit, I recommend this far. That's it. Just a little bit. Not all the way down, because now all of a sudden you're stretching the skin that you don't want stretched. You want to keep it as natural as possible. So I'm going to tilt down just a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to bring him back, her back, good old Quarantina. I'm going to take my comb it all the way flat. Now, if their hair is long and you can't see where their hairline is, don't guess. Okay? Take your comb and lift and see where the bulk of the hairline kind of stops. Everyone has a different shape. A lot of people's either fits into that naturally kind of rounder shape or that kind of square with rounded corner shapes or even perfectly square. Square does not mean 90-degree angles. Square means harsh angle. Okay, so when a natural person's hairline comes out, you never want to make it an actual square because it's going to get weird. And especially the grout, it's going to be extra weird. So for the back here, I start with my trimmers. I have lifted it up. I kind of know where my edges are. You can kind of see she has that natural shape to it. I'm going to show you a square line first, okay? So we're going to go straight in. I'm going to go right below that hairline, and that's it. In, pull down, okay? Now when I go to make the next line, I'm not going to go next to it. I'm actually going to cover it a little bit so that way I can keep that line straight so I don't accidentally go on a different angle. Okay, so I'm going to turn this hair, or this head. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to go straight in over it. See how I crossed over? Last piece. I'm going to cross over it just a little bit. Okay, now do a straight line. Now I'm going to go back and do this side. I'm going to cross over it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, you can barely see it, but this slightly goes down, okay? Not a big deal, but that's why I say go slowly and stick on the longer side if need be. So I'm gonna kind of go back, and I'm gonna bring that side up just a little bit, okay? Now we've got a perfectly straight line. So now, let me see if I can lower her just a little bit for her. Okay, so now I'm gonna clean up this line right here, okay? Again, she's got that really obvious line, and so do most people. However, you don't wanna go into the hairline too much, okay? Because that will turn into some really awkward grow out. It's not cute. If you're just gonna mess around and then shave the head, then go for it. But if you're not, be very cautious of these lines especially. Again, you can see it's not gonna be a perfect square. If I made it a perfect square, we would cut up into the hairline too much, and that's not okay either. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my comb, go slow. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna comb kind of through it all the way to the edge. See those last few hairs that stick out? Okay, so as I come in here, I'm gonna grab just these few hairs that stick out. I'm gonna turn my clippers on. I'm gonna anchor this comb against the head so it's not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna comb through, and I'm just going to graze against that comb to get those hairs. Okay, same thing with up here. See those little few hairs that popped out? I'm just gonna use the edge of my trimmers just to kind of help create that shape. And what that's gonna do is create a cleaner line that's not so bulky towards the edge, right? Towards the edge, okay? But that's it. That's the only hair that I'm gonna cut. Now you're gonna go in, once you've made your line on the bottom, you're gonna connect this part back. So you can go straight down, you can kind of follow it up, whatever you're comfortable with. Obviously, like I said, she doesn't really have anything for me to do there, so I can't really do much to show you. So I'm gonna flip this side back. I'm gonna comb this side in. And again, I don't know if you can see it, all I'm doing is bringing in a few of those hairs right here at the very, very bottom. That's it. And I'm just gonna lightly go up against them just to make a slightly cleaner edge. That's it. That's it. Cool? Now for the people that have kind of a rounder neckline, or you wanna make a rounder neckline, I recommend the stop sign method. I hate a round neckline. It's what I do for maybe 10-year-olds and below. It looks very, very young and not as clean and not as professional looking. So I tend to steer away from the perfect U's and gravitate more towards the stop sign haircuts, or stop sign necklines. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna show you on a post-it note here, or on a post-it note, on a index card. So if this is someone's neckline, right? Perfectly square, which it's not, but bear with me here. We'll do this side, right? What I'm gonna do, since I just did the bottom with my trimmers, right? I started in the middle, I crossed over, start in the middle, cross over. Now I'm gonna take trimmers, not scissors, but trimmers, and I'm gonna cut the corners like this and like this, okay? Again, with your trimmers though, corner, just a little bit. You don't wanna go too high into the hairline, but just enough. Then in order to round out those corners to make it a scrounged hairline, you're going to slowly just kind of chip away at those other edges. See how now that's becoming more round? And then you can kind of go back and keep trimming, again, with your trimmers, not with your scissors, into a round shape. Does that make sense? So again, just kind of continuing to cut off those little corners, taking that very, very square shape into a nice, soft shape. Cool? But again, I'm just using the trimmers, start in the center, work my way over, always kind of crossing over what I just did, crossing over, doing the lines on the side, and then I'm gonna go in and cut a corner here. Okay? Little corner down here, a little corner up here. And that's gonna slowly, it's hard to do on this, but that's gonna slowly take that corner to a rounded corner. Cool? All right, last thing we're gonna do, because I'm in quarantine and I don't have anyone to do this with, I, don't hate me, made a makeshift mustache. Okay, so literally it's just tape and one of the hairs that I cut off before. I'm literally going just to tape this onto this chick's face, and we're just gonna go with it because this is what we do in quarantine. We have limited resources. So, ooh girl, this is it. what? Desperate times call for semi-desperate measures. All right, Mr. Quarantina. Quarantima? I don't know. Okay, so most people's mustaches, hopefully, I've only been out of work for 2 weeks, so hopefully it hasn't gotten this bad. However, you have a couple options, right? Also keeping in mind her face is a little shorter from here to here than I would like, but we're just gonna... I need to put this on myself, don't I? Okay. All right, Quarantina. Here's what we're gonna do. You're off the hook. This is because I love you guys, and because desperate times. Okay, here we go. Yep, well. Unfortunately, this might actually work pretty good. All right, we're just gonna tape this on real good, real good. What is my life? Okay, we're gonna hope. Okay, so here's all I'm gonna say. This is where the lip is, right? Kinda. All I'm gonna say, it's kind of the similar concept when you're going around the ears. You're gonna start in the center and you're gonna chip away. Start in the center, chip away, okay? I'm also gonna heavily recommend something. I don't know what, oh, keep your mouth closed. Not too bad. So if you want, if you want to kind of lighten it up a little bit, this is highlight. If you want to lighten it up a little bit because it's too heavy, take your comb and you're gonna kind of slide. I don't know if I can do it on this, but you're gonna slide it up and you're gonna tilt it out and you're gonna run straight across it. However, if you do that, don't push in too hard, otherwise you'll take that length that you held or that you were trying to reserve and you're gonna cut it short. That said, my comb is a number 1-ish. So if you do want a shorter beard and if you keep a shorter beard and you want a shorter mustache, putting it up against flat is just fine. You're gonna get a 1 straight across the board. You would do it here, 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 and here. Cool?